Discuss Congressman Pete Sessions from Texas. Congressman, good to have you with us. I think we all thought about what was going on when those reports first came out. But now, as we're beginning to get more information, what concerns you about what we're learning?
Well, certainly we understood, the president understood, the world understood that there would be people who would be opposed to this. And they are people who are Muslim fundamentalists. They are people who represent terrorist organizations, Hezbollah, and certainly others. The Iranian people, certainly Ayatollah, has had an opportunity when President Biden was in office to come across our border to infiltrate the United States. I don't know enough about this particular instance, about where he came in, how long he was here, but I do know this, that he is not the only one who the FBI currently has under viewpoint, and I am not saying that he stood out. This is all to be determined. But what we're learning is that we know that we have a problem with security here, which is a key reason why Congress should come back right now, and our Democrat friends should vote to fund the rest of Homeland Security. This is increasingly going to be, as we move forward, an issue that politically they are going to have to fade this heat. They are going to have to understand it is their vote. It is their viewpoints that are causing us not to fully fund the Department of Homeland Security, FEMA, and the Coast Guard.
And Congressman, as we saw in Austin, I mean, putting lives in danger as well. I mean, this is just reprehensible what had happened. Do you anticipate the Democrats actually deciding to put politics aside and do the right thing?
Well, certainly as time goes on, and certainly as the administration has done their own reevaluation, which they said they would do, it was upon them to do that. Yes, I believe that the issue that was being handled has been diffused, and it's a two-way street. And I, as a conservative Republican, I'm not going to say it's okay for an ICE agent not to wear his mask, but certainly anyone else can do that. It was dangerous for our law enforcement officers. It was a bad position for the Democratic Party to hold to all their members to, and it's certainly wrong for them to hold out now. I can't imagine the real thinking behind the rank and file member who would allow this to continue.
You know, Congressman, I want to go back inside the bar. What happened at Buford's on that late Saturday night, early Sunday morning? Just a lot of young people having a good time over the weekend. We're not going to show the videos. They're just far too graphic. But in the aftermath, what really struck me were the number of just people in the bar that were rushing to tend to the wounded and doing whatever they could do. The police officers there in less than 60 seconds. What does that tell you about the people there in the Lone Star State?
I think it says a lot. Austin, Texas is, as people know and understand, probably not our most conservative town. But I think deep down, many Texans would want to come to the aid of other people, would see what was involved there. But let's be honest about this. The police department in Austin, Texas, was there on the spot as quickly as possible, and they took immediate action, and they did the right thing. And we have not only seen what kind of violence can take place when these people are successful, and I consider the man was successful to injure as many as he did, but it was an immediate response, and I'm proud of law enforcement and proud of these mostly young people, students from the University of Texas, standing up to do the right thing.
Before we let you go, Congressman, what's the word for the rest of the country? We've been told that there are so many sleeper cells. We don't know what came across that border during the Biden administration. How dangerous is it for people these days?
Well, what's interesting is that just like in Washington, D.C., when the president, even though we had at Thanksgiving or Christmas, two National Guardsmen who one murdered and one shot seriously. We have learned that having effective law enforcement, effective people who are on the streets works. It has worked in Washington, D.C. I walked around Washington of the last 10 days or so. National Guard are still in the downtown area. We've had, the way I understand it, at least a month and a half where there were no murders. And I think people have understood that effective law enforcement works. When you put cops on the street, when you put people and back them up, and they can use the correct policing methodology, you avoid crime, you avoid murders, and people being afraid. So I'm very proud of our federal and local and state law enforcement. In Texas, we have a good number of sheriffs and sheriff's deputies, law enforcement officers, police, proud of what they do.
All right, Congressman Pete Sessions, thank you for joining us on Newsmax this evening. And